my dolly dearies, and welcome to another video. Now today we are making an extra special doll. We're making my giveaway doll. This contest was won by the lovely Mao Dolls with this awesome Venus design, and we're going to make her in this video. I'm super excited to make this doll. She's got such a cool design and I haven't really made a plant doll before, so it's going to be really fun. Thank you guys all so much for 2K and getting here, and it was so fun to see all of your entries. But without any further ado, let's get on with the video! For this doll, we will be using Venus Book Flytrap as a base, of course, and she does need to get a bit prepped and ready. We're going to remove all of her hair. I do this by tying it in a ponytail and cutting it very close to the head with a small pair of sharp scissors. Since this hair is in pretty good quality as well, I can save it and use it on another doll in future. And with her hair all removed, we can pop off her head by dunking it in some boiling water to soften the vinyl. This is going to be interesting to do, because while we remove the hair, we also need to remove the flocking from the side of her head. I found the best way to do that was to actually soak it in warm water and then to take a sharp tool to scrape it off. But with that all gone, we can take our pair of needle nose pliers and scrape around her scalp to get all of the plugs out and pull them out through the neck hole. Out of context, this must sound absolutely horrifying. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Next, we can wipe off her face with acetone. I put a small bit into my lid and then use the cotton ball to wipe it off her face. The acetone dissolves the face paint, and you want to really try to not swipe it or smush it around the face, and just try to lightly sweep it off. But with her face all clear, she is ready for the next step. And that is priming her hair. I lay down the base colour for the pink that her hair will be as seen in her design, so that it'll be nice and solid when I eventually add the hair. Now onto the face up. I give her a coat of Mr. Super Clear Matte Sealant and begin blushing her with my chalk pastels. I darken her ears, eyes, nose, lips and a bit on her forehead. I wanted her to have a really soft, cute expression, so I made sure that the pastels were all blended out and really soft. Nothing too harsh on her. I then also start to lightly draw in her eyebrows, being very careful as to not mess them up. Eyebrows are always the hardest, I just can never seem to get them right, sadly. Maybe one day I'll get the hang of it. I continue going back and forth to darken certain parts and lighten up others, making sure to use an eraser along the way to get any stray pigment. With another coat of Mr. Super Clear down, I can begin sketching out her eyes. Using a very sharp brown pencil, I gently sketch in her eye mould and crease the light line of her eyes, and start sketching out her iris as well. I wanted her to have this slightly cheeky, looking to one side feel to her, and I then begin brightening her eyes with yellow from the very first layer. I begin also adding more dimension to her eyebrows and shading them in with the same brown pencil, and I dot in small little nostrils on her and begin lightening with my white pencil. I take a dark green for her eyelid crease and go back in with white to highlight it. With a pink, I start blocking in the base colour for her lips. And with orange, I start to brighten her eyes again. I continue going back and forth with my pencils to continue getting brighter colours. When I can't build up any more pigment and I'm happy with the last, I'll seal it in with a bit of Mr. Super Clear. Using the pencils, I can also start to add a bit of dimension to her eyes, adding in the irises and adding more colour to the outside. And using a black pencil, I go in and darken the super dark bits to make them really pop out. I then, because I can no longer get pigment from my pencils, start lifting it up with a slightly damp paintbrush straight off the pencil and onto the doll's face. This really helps to make the whites of her eyes pop. I do the same with orange, brightening it up much more to be a much more vibrant and sunny colour. I then take a small bit of yellow to start highlighting the bottom of her eyes, painting in a soft gradient as I go. I work simultaneously on both eyes, trying to keep them as similar as possible. I repeat this process back and forth, continually refining the eye shape until I can get something which I'm happy with. I end up with this pretty cute thing after quite a while, and I brightened her lips up as well. Now onto the fun bit, adding much more to her eyes to make them a bit more glam. I start darkening her eyeliner to make it a bit more substantial because it got a bit washed out in my progression back and forth with the pencils. I can then also start on her really fluttery eyelashes with my super duper fine paintbrush. I paint these in by doing one stroke into the eye and one stroke away, making them meet up. This process works pretty well for me and helps me have pretty consistent eyes, but oops. I accidentally swished my brush across her forehead, getting it everywhere. But since it is watercolour pencil, I could quickly wash it away with water and it looks fine now, thankfully. Using some white gouache paints, I dot in some highlights into her eyes as well. And with that all dry and sealed in with Mr. Super Clear once more, I can gloss her eyes with the Liquitex High Gloss Varnish. I also add this to her lips to make them really pop. Now it's time for the hands. Using Thingiverse, I found this really cute plant pattern, which I modified to have a kind of peg sticking out of one end, so that I could slot them into the Monster High wrist joint. It did turn out a bit small, so I'll leave the link to only the original, and maybe you guys can have better luck than me. But I can start painting the resin in green to match Venus's skin tone, and adding some extra shading to the plants as I paint them. And with them all painted, I mix up a tiny bit of epoxy glue to really secure them in place on her wrists. And while that's drying, I can mix up some epoxy to make her mushroom modifications. I mix up a tiny bit in a small batch and begin sculpting on these kind of shelf mushrooms to her leg, making some small caps which I put off to the side for the other ones which I'll attach. They were so tiny and cute, and it was a bit of a challenge to get them to fit onto the leg, but we got there in the end, and I think they look so adorable. I also then made some small spikes which will go on her shoulders and earrings as seen in the design. And while that dries, we can move on to the skirt. I have this triangle of yellow fabric which is perfect, and I paint a gradient on it to make it match the design. And while that dries, we can move on to the hair. I take my yarn wefts and glue them to her head, making sure to lay them down quite thin because this hairstyle is something a bit new, and rerouting it would not work with the amount of volume that rerouting has. So I first glue on the two pieces which will be her parting, keeping them very close to each other, before adding small bits around her forehead and the back. Now for this styling, I'm trying something a bit new. I'm using hairspray and a spoolie for eyebrows, and kind of spraying it down to her head and brushing it through to try and get the kind of close to the head curls which are seen in the original design. Styling short hair is something which I've never really done for Monster High dolls because it would seem so difficult on this tiny scale. And I was right, but it was really fun. I did mask off her face with tinfoil as well so it didn't get hairspray on it. And I continually spray with the hairspray using my spoolie to push it around and get it in place. And eventually we get this, which is so cute. And we can reattach her head to the body with the hair done. The hair is just too damn adorable. And I added a tiny bit of glitter along her part because life is shitter without glitter and I need it in every single one of my projects. But with her head reattached and her hands together and all the mushrooms on her legs, she is just looking too cute. And her skirt as well is just adorable. As for the earrings, I take some small fabric flowers and pins and I push them into the top of her ear. Now is also time for her top. Now the design does have her lady bits for the most part in the open and covered up by flowers. So to mimic this, I took some glue, applied it to the back of 2 fabric flowers and stuck them to her chest. And then with a bit of Mod Podge and some fake grass used for Warhammer, I can make her little top straps and all the fun bits which go up there. And now is also time for painting her leg mushrooms now that they're all dry. I take a bronzy orange colour and start putting it across the grey. And I felt that the bronze really helped the mushrooms pop and stand out. I then made some fabric roses and flowers and painted some old Venus McFlytrap leg things to go on her leg and waist. And with the fabric flowers, I can pin them into her head. To make the roses, I just took some red ribbon and scrunched it all up and put a pin through the middle. They're super duper easy to make, and I don't think you guys really need a tutorial on how to gather fabric. But with all the flowers stuck into her head, she's done! She's just amazing, isn't she? I so love the flowers in her hair, and I really haven't made enough plant dolls, and I need to make more in future. Thank you guys all so much for watching the video. Please like, drop a comment, and maybe even subscribe, or share it with a friend if you're feeling adventurous. It means a lot to me that we got to 2,000 subscribers, and that's a huge amount, and there's so many of you watching. Thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for joining the giveaway and supporting my artwork. I really hope that Venus is happy in her new home, and I thank every single one of you for being a subscriber. Thank you guys all so much, and I shall see you all in the next one. Bye! She was such a joy to make, and oh hi Lulu! Hola, hello, puppy. Come here. Come here, sweetheart. Oh, hello, Floppy. Oh, that's a big yawn. Was that a big yawn? Oh. Cat break. Oh my god.